Are gender stereotypes confirmed or challenged? I think it depends on the generation that you ask. I asked 5 participants who were willing and open to share their thoughts with me on a series of questions about gender, specifically women and men, although I feel now that I should have included the, like the other genders, LGBTQ, into this, and I'll explain why later. I didn't think that I'd feel this way, but I'll explain it later. So for the gender stereotypes being confirmed or challenged, like I said, it depends on the generation. When I asked the 2 baby boomers that I had, who were born in the 50s and 60s, they really confirmed the gender stereotypes. They told me things like a woman is more nurturing, a guy's more aggressive, and therefore women should not be subjected like on the front lines of battles, that men are tougher and they're built stronger, so they should be in construction, but women should probably not. I heard something like, because women want to go out and work, which is fine, they are not taking care of the kids in the house, and the kids aren't being raised right, and so that's why our society is so torn and there's so much crime. It's because the women aren't raising them right anymore. They're not at home. So that was interesting. As for I also interviewed an 18-year-old, a 24-year-old, and a roughly 40-year-old, and they challenged these stereotypes that I asked about, and I uploaded my questions there on Blackboard. They told me things like it didn't matter if a man or a woman wanted to be this or to do that, or how they should act in public. They felt that as long as it didn't affect them, it wasn't a big deal. As for the better communicator that I gathered, well, people told me that women are better nurturers, like I said. Did anyone take offense? Yes, someone did take offense. They told me that they thought that life would be much better in the 50s and 60s when women were homemakers, and I asked why, and they told me that it was because now there's a bunch of cheating going on, a bunch of scandals going on, no one's staying married, and it's because women are working out of the house, and they just went on a rant. Let's see. Now moving on to the next question, which ethical issues were uncovered as part of your research process? Gender stereotypes are changing, and I'll explain why in a little bit too, even for myself. For my communication style possibly challenging or affirming these stereotypes, I think that I did get a hint that my dad had thought that I had posed these questions. I didn't tell him that I wrote them, but he said that it sounded like the questions were set up to answer in a certain way, and that he would answer them so that I'd get a good grade, which isn't really what I was going for, but I suppose that bias comes through as well. Let's see. Oh, and for the last question, or the 5th question, what did you learn about gender stereotypes as a result of completing this question? Well, I realized that in the instructions you said to notice how gender voices are typically not in the conversation. Well, I actually encountered that, and I certainly did not expect to encounter that. So it was very interesting for me. I had one subject who was my last subject, who I will call S, and they told me when I asked what gender that they would label themselves as. They told me that they were a non-binary trans masculine person. And I thought, whoa. I said, why? And they said because they felt most comfortable that way. And that was very interesting for me to hear, because out of everyone else that I interviewed, although it was only 4 people, no one told me that they were their gender label because they felt most comfortable that way. People told me that they were their gender because that's how they were raised, because they had the right parts, because their mind told them they were. But no one besides S, the subject, ever told me it was because they felt most comfortable that way. And I thought, I thought that was really groundbreaking that we're moving into that now. I just thought that was interesting. So as we allow ourselves to feel more comfortable, who knows what stereotypes will be created or diminished from now on. I immediately realized that maybe my questions should have included the transgender voice, because from then on, when I was interviewing S, all of my questions were either man or woman, male or female, and I didn't quite know if she felt, or sorry, that they felt that they were included. So that's something I definitely would have changed. As for my gender label, I'll say that I feel comfortable as a female, although maybe we all have traits that are male or female. Maybe there are no traits that are just one or the other. That's just what society tells us. And I feel that now that it's almost 2019, we're getting closer than ever to all being able to feel most comfortable with whatever genders that we choose. Thank you.